So today we have a session about how to frame complex multi-layered wood walls with easy. And if you have any questions during this session, please write your questions into GoToWebinar questions dialog, and in the end of the session I will try to answer them. So building BIM together is our mission, and we create solutions for continuous BIM acceleration based on the experience of the most advanced users. And AGACAD, this is our company, is operating since 1988, and we are Autodesk authorized developers. At the same time, we have training and certification centers. And at the moment, we sold more than 8,500 Revit, commercial licenses for Revit users in more than 129 countries. Reducing BIM stress, so we help make it easier to bring BIM to life by eliminating tasks that do not create value. So during this webinar, you will see how to frame multi-layer timber walls and how to make the sheeting and connections. At the same time, I will present the new features which we have added into the new wood framing wall plus version, because maybe a week ago we have released a new version, and today I will try also to show the newest features, because we added maybe about 20 new features, so this new version is really extremely powerful. And the main topics is that we will try to frame and design complex configurations for multi-layered walls. So it will include secondary frames, vertical and horizontal nailers, and the sidings. We will learn how to make framing elements and then sign them to be built on site. So it means that it will be not made in the factory, so it will be just created and bring into the building site. Then we will work more with the corners and assign where those framing elements in the corners belongs to, and then how to easily predefine the splits and connection with building site elements. At the same time, I will show how to control window or window door joins. Then we will make sheeting layouts, and in the end we will make shop drawings for all our framed wall panels. Okay, so all the frames which are created in the wall can be later exported even to CNC machine. So we will make the model, the total model, using the flexible multi-layer framings. We will add the sheeting. At the same time, we will make shop drawings, and even it can be exported to CNC machine if needed. Okay, and so in general, our Wall Plus is automatically makes the wooden frames on the walls, which comes from your Revit project. And the main Wall Plus features is that you can create really complex multi-layer walls with the various supporting structures, openings, connections. Then you can distribute nailers, sidings and fastenings. Then you can even create a log house. Then you can distribute different details and then make shop drawings and so on. Okay, so I'm going to switch to my Revit project. And maybe first I will start with architectural model. So it's very easy project with 2 layers, and let's take a look into the wall structure. So there are layers created in the wall, and now we will make a link between those walls, wall layers and framing configurations, and later we will frame them. So as you can see, this is really pretty simple wall layer, wall type with different layers. So for example, here we are going to add the main frame, Then here we're going to add nailers, then one more time horizontal nailers, then we will add the sidings, vertical sidings, and some decoration on top. And from the internal side we're going to add the secondary frame and two sheathing layers. So that could be one scenario, one type of the wall. Maybe first of all, I would like just to say that you have to pay attention. For those who already own Wall Plus, you just need to pay attention and to check in the tools for BIM doc that there is new update created. So, and right now the version should be 2016.10 or the same is in Revit 2015. Okay, and you will need to update your current Wall Plus installation. And here you will be able to read the new features, and you will know you will be linked to the blog page with detailed information about the new features. Okay, and the Wall Plus you can find in the Tools for Revit wood framing tab. And first of all, just let's check a link. So I'm going to select the wall, and let's check the link between the wall type and framing configurations. We will overview later what are those framing configurations. Just now I just want to show that we're making a link, and the tool always remembers this link. So like we talk, into this layer we're adding the main frame, and then our created configuration. Then we're adding the vertical nailers in the external side, then the horizontal nailers, and then two sidings. One will be just regular vertical siding, and then some decoration on top. And in the internal side we're going to add two sheeting layers. Okay, so now I'm going to select a few walls from this project. Okay, and now let's frame the walls. So now the tool will distribute main framing elements, and the tool will put those frames into the core layer of this wall type. And actually in this building there are two different wall types. So one type is created for the vertical sidings, and another type is created for the horizontal siding. So we're going to have different design in this one building. Okay, so we're finishing with framing 5 walls from the project. And that's it. The tool already framed those 3 walls, and at the same time we can take a look and we can just see that very nicely created in the plan view. So there are some opening frames around the door or around the window. The corners are framed, and the layers are exactly in, the frames, they're exactly in the layer where it should be. Okay. Now maybe I will overview the framing configuration, and let's check what was the distances between the frames and what other settings we have in the moment. So here in the configuration tab you can just choose what kind of layer you're going to modify. So let's right now overview the main frame, and actually you can save the settings which are listed below, and you can create your own configurations. Later you can share those configurations with your colleagues if needed. Okay, and just all those settings are here, and it's very easy to just check those configurations because it's grouped, and all the settings, they're grouped according to the logical scenario. For example, in the common settings we can just predefine the families which will be used for the vertical elements and for the horizontal elements. So it means for the studs and for the plates, and the families and the types will be automatically adjusted according to the layer thickness. Then with element mark definitions, it's very important to change if needed descriptions and the names for every member, because this information later will be used in making schedules and making shop drawings. So if you want to adapt it to your country standards, you can very easily rename those member names and save it. Okay, and with the modify settings, so with the last step, we can predefine just general settings which are created for all the configurations and only for particular one where I am standing on. Okay, and with wall framing, you can predefine what are the distances between the studs. So you can also predefine the top and bottom plates. And in this new version of the Wall Plus, we added possibility to predefine totally different bottom pad type. So here you will be able to select totally another family for the bottom pad. Okay, so we added option to predefine different bottom plate families. Okay, and if needed, you can also predefine some offset from the wall base or top. Then with the opening framing, you can predefine different configuration settings for different opening sizes and for separately for the windows or separately for the doors and for other openings. So here you can just predefine what will be the header or what will be the sill, for example. Also, you can just predefine what are the trimmers, what kind of trimmer type you would like to have, and then with other studs, you can predefine the number of top trimmers or the number of the bottom trimmers if needed. Okay, so it's very flexible that you can predefine the framing for windows, doors, and openings. If windows or doors or other openings, if they are standing on non-structural walls or separately for the structural walls, because for example the header which is for the header for the window which is in the bearing wall could be stronger, for example, so we can have totally different header type which is stronger because the window is standing is placed into the bearing wall. And then there are different options to combine and control connection. For example, if windows, if they are quite close to each other, you can predefine totally separate settings for the top cripples, for the bottom cripples, and for the trimmers. So for those which are joined together, which are really close together. Then we added into the new version, we added more L connection types and the same with the T connection. So we added more connections into the new version. So now you will be able to control them more easily. Then let's take a look that you can just predefine bridgings, noggings, and blockings. And there are different scenarios how you can predefine them. Later I will show you a few examples. But here I just want to let you know that you can even predefine bridgings again only for the structural walls or only for the not structural walls. So you can, in the new version again, you can predefine different bridgings or noggings, and the tool will check if your wall is structural or if your wall is not structural, for example. Okay, also we have option to apply the secondary bridging, blocking, and nogging. Then we can add very easily bracings, some additional studs or additional bridgings and blockings, and then the details. There are many options how to control different details and anchors, for example, or some clip angles. So here you can just select your own family, like for example in this case the anchor, we can say that it should be placed in the center between two studs, for example. So that is very easy rule how you can just very simply distribute your own families into the frame, and later those families, those connections will be calculated. You will have really detailed shop drawings. So in such case your model will be really precise. And then if it's necessary, you can add the service holes and the holes for the studs. So after making modifications, you can just save it under your own name and to use it for the future projects, or you can share this configuration with your colleagues. So once again, let's check a link. I'm going to check this link that here, for example, into what we did right now, we added the main frame into this layer, and we have used this configuration from our configuration list. Okay, now let's continue with other layers. So I'm going to select again those 3 walls, and now let's add a secondary frame. As you remember, the secondary frame is in our internal side of the wall. Okay, and in the new version, which we have released at the moment, we added a possibility for the tool which automatically will align the studs from the secondary frame with the main frame. Okay, because as you remember, for those who already had Wall Plus, after adding the secondary frame or the nailers, you needed to make alignment, additional alignment. We used to have the functionality align studs with main frame. So right now there is no need to use this option anymore, or maybe you can use it in some special other cases, but still all those elements, additional studs or from the secondary frame or from the nailers, will be automatically aligned with the main studs. Okay, and now let's take a look and let's check the 3D view. Once again, I just want to make a section a little bit lower. Okay, and let's check right now it from the internal side. Okay, so here we have the secondary frame layer, and as you can see, in this case, the bottom plate is already split. So we have a split here, and this is also one more option which we have added into the new Wall Plus version. More possibilities with controlling different splits and the elements which are built in place. So now if we're talking about this corner, so let's just go to the end connections, and we added more possibilities to control the ends and to add some external offsets. And just once again, I'm going to check the join. Okay, so we added an option, more flexible option with controlling the connection. So the tool says that at the moment this connection was used in particular case. Also, we added an option to make an offset from the corner, from our internal corner, and we set for the tool to split top and bottom plates according to the first stud. Okay, so the tool finds the first stud in this wall, and then the tool automatically splits the bottom and the top plates. Okay, so that kind of very easy way how you can very easily control the corners and make really complex connections. Once again, let's add a secondary frame to those 2 walls. Yeah, so the tool automatically again will split this bottom plate. Okay, and the tool automatically will make it built in place. Okay, so in the properties you will see that this family is and this element is built in place, so it means that it will be created and it will be added in the building site. Still, the tool will calculate it. I mean, we are going to have this element in our schedules, but this element will be built in place, so it will be not included into the assembly, and it will be not I mean, yes, it will be not included into the assembly, and it will be not be prefabricated. Now let's continue with nailers. So in this case, we have two nailers from one wall side. So the tool now adds even 4 wall frames, because there will be 2 frames in one side. So I have selected 2 walls, so there will be 4 wall frames. And now the nailers automatically added, but at the same time, as you can see, the tool also automatically aligns them together with the main frame. Okay, and here we have the nailers, and also let's just check what kind of the connection we have between the windows, because those 2 windows, they are joined together, and that's why we have such complex connection between them. I mean, if you don't use such scenarios in your workflow, I mean, you can just make just simple framing, but we just want to show you such kind of possibilities and what kind of really complex connections you can make automatically. Okay, and after adding nailers, we can add the siding, but just before that, I just want to say that if you want to add something additionally, and some special studs or some special bridgings and blockings, you can very easily do that in the custom places. For example, like right now, I have added additional stud, or we can add additional bridging or blocking between our selected studs. So it's very easy to just check and to add additional elements to the custom places if needed. Okay, and now let's add the sidings. Yes, so again, we have in one layer, in one wall, we have 2 siding layers. One is a regular siding, and another layer goes for decoration. Okay, so let's check it from the external side. We have such siding, so it's a horizontal siding, and here we have additional, again, built-in place elements in the corners. And if we are going to check this element again, this is built-in place element. Okay, so it will be not prefabricated, but added into the building site. Yes, and now let's add the sheeting. So for the sheetings, for creating the sheetings, actually we use parts. This is a separate sheeting configuration where you can predefine the distances between the sheetings and the sheeting sizes. Then you can predefine the top or bottom offsets from the wall or from the corners. Let's say you can just predefine what are the framing extensions, and at the same time, again, some sheeting segments will be built in place. So in this case, we're saying that if the tool will find the outer connection, outer corner, so if it will find the outer corner, so it will automatically add such extension from the corner, and we're going to say that the sheeting should be split near the second stud, and that kind of sheeting will be built in place. Okay, so again, these rules you can save for your future projects, and you can save under your own name. And again, this configuration can be shared with your colleagues. And for the sheetings, we use parts, so we have to go to the view properties, and I'm going to switch parts visibility, and let's just switch on show parts. Okay, And you see that this is the sheeting, which is already here. So we are going to have two sheeting layers, so this one and that one, and we can see that in the properties that this is really sheeting. But now we just have to split it according to our created scenario. So we have to go to the split sheeting parts, select any frame from the wall, and that's it. Right now you see the tool automatically did everything, so it split the sheeting according to our predefined configuration. And now if I'm going to take a look into this sheeting, as you can see, the sheeting is built in place, so it means that again it will be not prefabricated, it will be created in the building place, the same as this one, the shorter side of the sheeting. Okay, and let's do the same with the other wall. Yes, and we have again we have a split here in another wall. Yes, and we have totally, yes, and just once again I'm going to select this sheeting to just to show you that we have really good sizes, and the sheeting will be nailed together with the secondary frame. Okay, and now before making shop drawings for those walls, maybe let's continue with that part of the building, because here I just want to show one more type of sidings. So here we are going to add vertical sidings. There is an option, if you want, you can actually add mixed configuration between the sidings. So it could be, for example, all vertical sidings and only the horizontal below the window or above the window, for example. Okay, and here we have totally different scenario with vertical sidings, and the siding family, I mean, and the profile you can change and you can adjust it according to your own standards, because the families which we use with this product, they are just sample families, and if you would like to modify the profile or something else, so you can very easily do that, because this is just regular structural framing elements with the profile. Okay, and now let's continue with the shop drawings for these two walls. First of all, let's check shop drawing configuration, and into the new version of the Wall Plus, we added possibilities to display grids in the assembly view, and also we added possibility to show only some single special layer from the wall. So sometimes if you have two nailers in one side of the building, of the wall, you can very easily filter only some specific and single layer if needed. Okay, and here as always you just need to predefine the views, so what kind of views you would like to have in the assembly, at the same time what kind of framing layer you would like to show, what will be the view template which comes from your project. You just need to predefine the view template. Then you have to predefine the schedules, or the part lists which will be necessary for you in making the final shop drawings. And here you have just to select existing schedule which comes from your project. So in this case you can predefine and you can make your own schedule with your own columns and use this schedule as a template for making shop drawings. Okay, so this is a regular schedule which comes from your Revit, and you can just use this schedule for making framing part list, for example. Okay, then we have to pick the title block from the project, the tag family which will be used for tagging our structural framing elements. Then we have to pick the dimension types for the vertical, horizontal elements, and for the studs. Again, in the new version of the Wall Plus, we added possibility to predefine position where exactly you would like to add dimension. So dimension could be added on the right side, on the left side, or in the location line of your stud. Okay, so even you can control where exactly to put dimension. And after saving the setting, we can just go to create frame assembly. I'm selecting any frame from the wall, and now the tool collects all frames into the assembly, and at the same time the tool adds dimensions. It applies the view templates, it makes schedules according to our needs, and also it adds tags automatically on the frames. Okay, so we're finishing with making our first assembly, and now let's check the views. So this is the list of all the views which are already at the moment created. So this is our regular 3D view, then a front side view with the main frames, but as you can see, they are not tagged at the moment, because now if I'm going to select any stud from this wall, if we go to the properties, so we see all information about the stud. So this is really a stud, it comes from the wall. We have the VS and the mark definition, we have the weight. The tool automatically calculates the weight of or the mass of every member, but we don't have mark, so its FM sort mark parameter is empty. That's why we can't see this in the front side view. So we just need to go to the sort circle framing by mark, and the tool automatically will renumber all framing elements from this current project. And that's it. Now we can just select element and see that everything is in the properties, and that's why we see this information in our front side view. And all other views, so it's a view with a sheeting, or a top side view, the view with nailers, this is a view with sheeting elements, and then the schedules. So this is our material takeoff, then the part list with detailed information, then separate schedule only for the sheeting, or separate schedule only for the siding. And now we can just add the views into the into our final sheet. Okay, and let's here add schedule with the part list. Okay, and after making the first sheet, we can just go to the shop drawing configuration, and we can just say that this sheet will be used as a template for our future assemblies. And now I'm coming back again to my previous view, and one more time I just want to pay your attention that the elements which are built in place, they are not included into the assembly. And if I'm selecting assembly, as you can see, the elements which are built in place, they are not included, because they will be created and assigned in the building site. Okay, so that's why they are not prefabricated. And the same story with another wall. Let's again create assembly for the second wall, and the tool right now to automatically will create assembly for the second wall, but at the same time the tool will put the views into the sheet automatically according to the previous sheet. Okay, and we are just ready to go and see the final result. Yes, so we can just open the final sheet, and we can see that everything is placed. We can get all those views. We see the layers which are needed, and at the same time we get the shop drawings with detailed information and with detailed part list. Now I would like to switch to another project, and I would like to show one more example. For showing this example and for showing this project, I'm going to switch to another configuration. You know that with Wall Plus you can have different configurations in different computer places. So in this case I'm going to use totally different system for framing the walls. So that's why I'm using totally different configuration. And here if I'm going to make a link, just once again let's check a link. So this is just one framing layer, and again with two sheeting sides from two sheeting layers from both sides. And now after framing this wall, here I just want to show an example from the new version about the bridgings. They will be automatically adjusted according to the window sizes. Okay, so as you can see here, we have the bridging above this window, but above the door we have totally different type. So here we have double bridging, and for example here we have a single one type of the header above the door. And at the same time we have, you can see that the studs, they are connected, they are actually cut into the bottom and top plates. And here I'm going just to go to the modify wall framing, and here I just want to once again to repeat about the bridgings and noggings, that we added possibility to add the top plate headers only for the windows or doors which are on the structural wall or not structural. For example, you can predefine then the offset from the top or from the bottom. And then we also added improvements about the placement limits. Now you can, because we had an option before that the bridging can go only through or through except openings, and now we added more options where you can predefine that the bridging should go only through the windows or only through the doors. And that's why now you can automatically say that through the windows such a header should be placed, and if the bridging goes through the doors, totally different type should be placed. Okay, so you can very easily control here. And even if we are saying that this element, this bridging, should be added through the windows or above the windows, you can even predefine the window sizes. So if window will be less than 600 millimeters, then the bridging will be not added. Okay, so even you can control the window or door sizes and for eliminating or for adding the bridgings. Okay, and one more example with another wall which is not structural, and we will see that the bridgings, they are not added above such a window. Yes, we're updating right now the current wall type. And as you can see, the details automatically added as we talked before. So this anchor is added between two studs automatically. Okay, and this wall, if we take a look into this wall is not structural, and that's why we don't have the header above such window, because that is the rule which we have used in our framing configuration. One more example with another framing system. As you can see, again, this is totally different framing system, and for this system I'm going again to use totally different configuration. Maybe first of all I'm going to frame those two walls. And yeah, so this is really simple frame. And then let's add the secondary frame, which again is in the internal side of our building. But here it's very interesting option, because as you can see, the secondary bridging, it goes not through all the wall, but it stops with the first stud. And this is really interesting option, because now we can control again everything, and where to split and where to end the frames. If I'm going again to the wall joint framing, we can see that there are options where you can extend or finish the top or the bottom plates automatically. And one more example with the internal connection, I mean with this internal side of the walls in the outer corner, that those elements they are cut between, and they're added in the corner between horizontal frames. And here, for adding such elements, we can go again to the modify wall framing. Let's go to the secondary bridging and nogging, and here we added again into the new Wall Plus version, we add possibility to control and to add connections on some corner. So in this case, this additional secondary bridging is added exactly into the L outer corners, and they're automatically cut. Okay, and there are some offsets from the start and from the end. Okay, so you can even add and control such elements. And the same with another rule, as you can see here, again those framing studs, they are cut according to the king. So if the tool finds the king from the main frame, it automatically adds such short studs which are cut between the horizontal elements. So with this example and with this scenario, we just wanted to show that you can very easily control the settings. So you can just predefine configuration one time, and that's it. So the tool will remember this configuration for other walls and for the future projects, and you will be able just to use this configuration and share it with your colleagues. Again, in this system, you can see that the header, the cripples above the header, it's totally different. It could be even shorter than the regular studs. And let's take a look into every layer individually. So this is our main frame, then the frame with nailers, and one more very interesting scenario is that there are two nailer layers. One is vertical and one is horizontal, but for the vertical we use like rigid insulation studs. Okay, so this is actually not a regular stud, but this is rigid insulation. Okay, and again, this is a separate view with the frames and the secondary frame. Okay, this is secondary frame and the main frame and the nailers. Okay, then separate view only for the nailers. Okay, and then the nailers with the sidings. Okay, and separately for the sidings, and then we can just check them all in the final result. Okay, so I'm coming back again to my slides, and let's overview once again what kind of new features we added into the new Wall Plus version. So it goes the same for Revit 2015 and 16. So we added possibility to very easily control framing ends and to control which elements are built in place or they are created in the building site, and then where exactly to split the segments, what are the splitting places. Then we added possibility to add grid symbols into the assembly views. Actually, this is not regular grid because you know that into the assembly you can't add regular grid because it's not allowed it by Revit. But here we added possibility. We have created some special grid symbol and we're adding it automatically into the assembly views. Then, as we talked today, we added possibility to control the bottom plates, and you can predefine totally different family for the bottom plates, and you can even have such a bottom frame. Then we added possibility to control noggings together with the horizontal nailers, and also control short vertical secondary elements in the corners. Then we added new header type because again this was a request from our customers that they needed such header type with gaps, so we added such new header. Then we added new connection types because again it was a request from our customers, so we added new connections. Then we added possibility automatically to align frames with the main frame. So if you're adding secondary frames or the nailers, the tool automatically aligns them with the main frame. Then we added possibility to delete or move the studs when they collide. So it means that for example, let's say if the door moves, if the door is moved to the corner with the T connection, what to do with the studs? So it has to be deleted or it has to be moved. So if it has to be deleted, so then if the door connects, then the king stud stays and the stud from the connection will be deleted. The same if the same door we're going to move to the L corner, what to do with this stud? So again the king stud stays and the stud is deleted. Okay, so again we added possibility very easily to control what to do with the studs. So it should be moved or it should be deleted. Okay. Then we added more possibilities to predefine different configuration locations as I used today. So for example, this is a default configuration which comes together with the software, but at the same time you can share and you can put common configuration somewhere into the common location and you can share it with your colleagues. Then we added possibility to frame even curved walls, not just straight walls. So even for the top plates and for the bottom plates, you can use such metal tracks if needed. I mean, it depends on your workflow, but still there are a lot of options to control the families, and you can use not even just wooden frames in the top and in the bottom, but you can even use the metal tracks. Okay, and the more new features you can read in our blog post. As I said, there are about maybe 20 new features which we added into the new Wall Plus version. And once again, I just want to remind that we have a lot of different products in our portfolio, and today we talk about the Wall Plus, which comes from the wood framing group. But at the same time, if you do metal framing or if you work with the metal frames, the same Wall Plus we have for the metal framing. Because in the metal framing group we have products which goes for framing your roof, walls and the floors using the metal profiles and metal studs and metal tracks. Then we have smart assemblies, which is very good for making shop drawings for some particular elements or for some special elements. For example, if you would like to make assembly only for one stud, because as you saw today, we did shop drawings for all the wall as it is prefabricated, but at the same time you can make shop drawing only for one specific element, for a specific frame. So in such case you will need to use smart assemblies. Then tools for Revit add-ons. So there are smaller solutions for documentation and for modeling. Then we have cut opening, which is very good for making openings automatically around ducts, pipes, cable traces and conduits. Then we have MEP engineering group, where you can find products for ventilation systems, for fire protection. Then we have BIM tree, which is very powerful for working with parameters and parameter values which are created in the current project. Then we have smart details, which is very handy for distributing details on different elements according to some specific rules. So if we talk about the wall framing, it's already included possibility to distribute details, but for example, if you would like to add details only on prefabricated concrete wall, let's say, so you would not need to add them manually one by one. You can just distribute the rule and just predefine the rule and distribute details automatically. And then Smart Browser, it contains software which can control your families from the library. Okay, and for the Wall Plus, we have actually some special offer where you can get the Wall Plus for 1 month, and together with a 1-hour training just before buying, and for better understanding if this product would be useful for you, because usually we have you can download a trial version and the trial goes for 2 weeks. But here you can just go for 1 month as a trial, and then together you can get 1 hour detailed training on your specific projects. Okay, and you will be able to also get practices and consulting on your specific projects. And you can very easily download the trial version using our tools for BIM doc. And please do not forget to update Wall Plus for those who already own Wall Plus. As I was showing you today, you can just press update button in the tools for BIM doc dialog. And for those who don't have already the Wall Plus, you can just very easily get a trial. You just need to fill the form, and the software will be automatically installed for 2 weeks. And this is the link where you can download Tools for BIM doc. So you can visit our webpage and download Tools for BIM doc from this webpage very easily. Okay, so thank you for your time. If you have any questions, you are welcome to add the questions into GoToWebinar questions dialog, and also my slides are located under the handouts in the GoToWebinar dialog. So if you want, you can download all my slides and the PowerPoint presentation and the brochure of this product to your computer.